Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer, your new locally brewed domestic style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's Rob Staton, SeahawksDraftBlog.com. Hello, Rob. How are you?
Very good, thanks. Very good.
Okay. Well, we're not going to spend much time looking back at last week's game, all right, Rob? As Rob Staton joins me every single week, we're going to put that in the rearview mirror, and we are going to look ahead to the Rams game coming up this weekend with Seattle, all right? Inside the bloody trenches with Rob Staton. It's always brought to you by Georgetown Brewery. You can follow Rob also on social media at Rob Staton. Check out his YouTube page, Rob Staton Football, and read all of his work, as always, at SeahawksDraftBlog.com. All right, we sit here on a Wednesday, Rob Staton, Seahawks, Rams. How are we thinking this game goes? Obviously, people's opinions change, the ebb and flow with the week. What stands out to you as of now, Seahawks and Rams Sunday?
Well, first of all, I hope the game lives up to the billing, because when you have a game like this and everybody's attention is on this game, a lot of the focus today actually has been on people complaining that it's not the primetime game. I mean, how on earth are we having to endure another Raiders primetime on Monday Night Football this week? They've been on primetime a lot. You know, why wasn't this moved to that slot? Because it's the ideal kind of game for Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football. So it is what it is. I hope it lives up to the billing. I hope it's going to be a great game. I anticipate it's probably going to be something that is quite close. The thing that I'm sort of focusing on, Puck, and I don't know whether this is the right thing to do or not, is there's going to be a whole bunch of people saying this is a Sam Darnold thing, a chance to put that game last year to bed. I think that's a false narrative. I think that's a red herring, because if you actually look at the data, the problem was a horrendous offensive line performance by the Vikings at the end of last season against the Rams. And if you actually look at how Matt Stafford and Sean McVay's offense fared against Mike McDonald last season in the one game that the starters played against each other, they didn't do that well. So I'm interested to see if that continues again, because if Mike McDonald can get one over on Sean McVay here, then we're going to be talking about a potential Super Bowl run next week.
Okay, there's going to be a lot of things that make people nervous, right? Everyone, you lay your head down on the pillow, you start tossing and turning, looking up at the ceiling. God, if this goes wrong, what happens here? What happens with this player, with this personnel? Or what makes Rob Staton, when he lies down, and you don't sleep at all, by the way, and people don't know this about Rob. Rob sleeps like an hour a night. He might be a vampire. He does not sleep, okay? All he does is work. What makes you so nervous?
Nothing really. I don't think anything's making me nervous about this game. I think, well, look, you have to accept that Matt Stafford's going to make some plays. Matt Stafford is going to make some plays. Matt Stafford could win this game for the Rams. I think the thing that makes me, it's not going to keep me up at night. What is going to, the thing that I'm fear the most is that the Seahawks lay an egg, and all of the positivity and the hope that has been generated and this sort of growing belief, because I think we all want to follow a contender this year. You know, we've been waiting for it. We've been hoping that the Seahawks can get back to a position where they can be a serious team in the NFC. And if they lose badly on Sunday, that's going to be forgotten. You know, there's going to be no chance of that. We're going to be thinking, oh no, you know, there's the hopes dashed. They're a bit of a pretender still. They're good, not great. That's the thing that will probably keep me up at night. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think even if they don't ultimately win, I think it's going to be a competitive game. I was talking to Brian Nemhauser yesterday, and he was saying it could be the first of 3 games. And he makes a good point. It could be. This could be like 2013, where they played the Niners 3 times. It could be a case where this is just the first chapter of a story between the Seahawks and the Rams this year. So I hope that's the case, because if they play each other 3 times, it may well be that 3rd time is NFC Championship.
Yeah. All right. So it doesn't make you nervous. You that would tell me that you think they've got inherent advantages all across the board. Where does Rob Staton see the advantages of Seattle against the Rams?
Well, last season they did an exceptional job stopping the running game against the Rams. The Rams ran for 2.8 yards a carry. Matt Stafford had 200 passing yards and a touchdown and an interception before overtime. So in the overtime, where the Seahawks failed on fourth down. Can you remember they ran it twice on 4th and 1 and couldn't get the yard? Puckett, can you remember us complaining about the offensive line on that? And it took the wind out of the stadium and of the team. And then Stafford was just like 3 passes downfield, touchdown, game over. Before that, he didn't play very well. And I think that one of the advantage Seattle has is the creativity of their defense, their ability to keep you guessing, the way that they're creating pressure from everywhere, the performance of that defensive line, whether it's going to be against the run or whether it is going to be against the pass and pressuring Matt Stafford. I think they're going to have an advantage there. Now, the disadvantage I think they're going to have is tight ends. I think we saw again Trey McBride last weekend, even though it was garbage time, kind of had his way with the Seahawks. It was an open invitation to get me 18 points in 3 of my fantasy teams. And I'm grateful for the Seahawks for that. But they need to find a way to cover these tight ends because Puka Nacua is a threat, Devontae Adams is a threat. Matt Stafford will find his tight ends if he's given an opportunity.
Is it inherently an advantage to Seattle in just a small way because the Seahawks use so many tight ends and so many tight end personnel, and not like that they just are going up against that every day in practice. This isn't high school anymore where they're scrimmaging so much, back in the day, or even to a degree like college. But there is some similarity between it. It's not like they are seeing an offense in practice that runs something so dissimilar to what the Rams run. I would think that that's got to be somewhat of an advantage or helpful, I think, to Mike McDonald in the defense.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing we kind of have to remember sometimes is that the NFL teams, I can't watch, Puck, I suspect you may agree with this, I can't watch a game of NFL football and go, that's cover 2, Z slots, blah, 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 blah.
Well, but I don't like watching football like that. And I'll be honest with you, I think, and that so much of that, now you got me down a different road here, and I'm just so much of that is dominated like the internet and TV.
Yeah.
And I think it's so fucking off-putting to the average fan. And I'm an average fan. I think it's so off-putting. People don't talk about sports and football like that. I'm telling you, go to your pub where your favorite pub where you go have a drink and talk NFL or talk, football over there and just listen to how fans talk about it. They're not talking about, I go to a local bar around here and when we talk about the Seahawks, no one at that bar is going, they really struggle in that. They really struggle in that cover too. I mean, no one talks like that. Okay, I'm done with mine.
No, I think it's fair. There is a high degree of showing off, I think, goes on. Like, look at me. I can use the big words and I can explain things, and you're not on my level because
you're right. Exactly. I just
that's the way it is. So the point I was kind of making is that the NFL teams they kind of know what everybody's running, and okay, this is a team that runs this, and they know that we're a team that runs this, and really. I don't think there's any surprises in an NFL game. And it does ultimately come down to sort of the minute details, those executions, whether a good player on one team can make a better player than the good player that he's facing, and just moments of fortune sometimes and health. And at the end of it all, this is why I love the NFL. It's why I'm so obsessed with it. Is that it is the perfect combination of just physical brilliance and violence and everything that comes with that, and a little bit of tactics involved, and sort of just being able to sit back and watch it. So I don't think we're going to see any surprises here from the Rams. I think the Seahawks will know what they're going to get, and it's going to be a classic matchup. And I just think that this also, I do think when the Seahawks and the Niners faced each other, and it was Carroll versus Harbaugh and all of that stuff. You did have a bit of a mismatch there in that Colin Kaepernick just wasn't as good as Russell Wilson. And the LOB was so good and they could stymie Kaepernick apart from when he was running. I think in this matchup here, you have got genius offensive mind in McVay. I think Mike McDonald is showing that he's an exceptional mind defensively. And you've got no real weakness on either side. And that is going to be like 2 huge juggernauts clashing. And I think that could be very interesting.
Well, it's like watching 2, coordinators sit in a meeting room up on the whiteboard, and you get an offensive coordinator together and a defensive coordinator. What they'll do is they'll sit there and go back and forth and counter each time on the whiteboard. Well, if you do this, I'll do that. When you do that, I'll do this.
Yeah.
And that's what the Sunday game is going to be all about, is like, Matt Stafford has seen everything in the world. There's probably not a defense and a coverage that he has not seen. He's played, what is he on? 15 years, 16 years in the league. He's seen it all. I don't think there's anything that Mike McDonald's going to show him on Sunday that he probably hasn't seen. Can he disguise it and hide it a little bit more? Perhaps. It's just going to come down to the players. It's going to come down to that front four. If they don't blitz a lot, which they don't really do anyways, it's going to be those four getting after it. Can they win one-on-one? Can they get around their guys? Can they make life miserable for him by not sending a lot of pressure and making Stafford hold on to the ball for a tick longer? And I would assume it's kind of the same thing on how the Rams are going to probably try and defend Sam Darnold. I mean, Sam Darnold, are they going to have to run the ball? And again, this is all cliche stuff, but Seattle's going to have to, they love to run it. They have a high percentage of running the ball, but they got to be effective in running the ball. Try to get in 2nd and 6 if you can, or 3rd and 3. So where you can still run it or a short, little quick pass. But the in-game head coaching chess game to me is fascinating, along with, and I'm sure you've thought about this as well, all the other storylines that go into it. The Sam Darnold facing this team for the first time since the disaster playoff game. The Cooper Kupp reunion against the Rams, which did not end well. It did. That marriage between those two did not end well. Ernest Jones being traded from the Rams to the Seahawks. So there's just a lot of great, I think, individual storylines heading into the game as well.
Completely agree. Matt Stafford has played 231 games, which is speaks to his experience. I just checked that up. I think the Seahawks have got such an explosive offense now. And when you look at that Rams defensive line, and this, credit to Brian again, who brought this statistic up, the Rams started the season creating a lot of pressure, and they were having a lot of success with their pass rush. And for some reason, and he didn't have an answer for this, and I certainly don't either. It's not been as effective in the last sort of 3 or 4 games. So you do just wonder, is that how the Seahawks going to win this game? Actually, is it going to be you look at the Rams front and you think, Jared Verse, Fisk, Byron Young, those kind of players, the pass rushers, the defensive linemen. Is it actually going to be down to, can they create a bit more pressure? And if they can't, and the Seahawks have done a very good job, 10 sacks in 10 games. It's an unbelievable statistic that they've only given up 10 sacks in 10 games. That the Seahawks can, or in 10 weeks, can the Seahawks attack downfield against what looks like a pretty suspect Rams secondary? Is this going to be a game where if the Rams, no one can stop JSN at the minute, but if they do have an answer to that, is this when Rashid Shaheed becomes a dynamic downfield threat? Are we going to see, an Elijah Arroyo breakout game? Because I'm watching Trey McBride last week and I'm thinking, this is what I want Elijah Arroyo to be. That kind of, unstoppable force at tight end. He may not win the game, but he's going to get his yards, he's going to get his targets. And I just wonder whether that is where this game's going to be won. It's going to be on pass protection and attacking that second level of the defense.
God, you know what, Rob? I brought this up several times, and I think I'm doing an awful job of articulating it, which anyone that listens to this or watches this would say, that's not new. I don't get this excited for regular season NFL games. To me, college football has cornered that market for hyping up the big game of the week. You can't wait to watch Alabama LSU at night in Baton Rouge on CBS with Vern Lundquist on the call. Okay,
old school Vern. Come back, Vern.
Old school Vern. Back on CBS with the music and all of it. And I know it's you know what? That's one of the things that college football has been ruined this year. That now the SEC's on ESPN and the frickin' CBS has the Big Ten.
Big Ten.
It's awful. It's awful. Awful. But I just you get so excited for those games in college football, despite NFL being a much bigger product. But God, I cannot wait for Sunday. I can't. I just because I just think it's got the makings of such a really, really, really good game. And then as you're being an NFL fan, that will morph into what's the Sunday night game? It's Eagles-Lions.
Yeah.
I mean, these could be arguably the last 4 teams remaining, in the NFC. So I think it's going to be such great theater. I can't wait to watch them go at it and just see what new wrinkles both staffs have for one another.
I think the college football. It's almost like a boxer who tries to stay undefeated for as long as possible, and then
that's probably it. Yeah,
and when a boxer loses a fight, then it's almost like, oh well, that's it. They're not going to go for a world title now. And in college football, if you do lose, like if Indiana lose a game, they're suddenly going to go from 2nd to 10th or something. Like if they lost to Penn State, they'd have sunk a lot lower than, say, a Georgia or an Alabama would, because it's Indiana, and that's just the way the voters will go with that. And the NFL, if the Seahawks lose this game, we go, well, they're going to play each other again, like in a couple of weeks. So there's a chance there. I completely agree with you and how exciting this is. It's actually the national radio broadcast game this weekend in the UK for the BBC. So I am going to be covering this for the BBC, it's a challenge, that Puck, because I'm going to have to be very, very impartial on this and speak positively and negatively about both teams. So it's going to be me doing my absolute hardest here to.
How do we get? Are you doing play-by-play?
No. So what they do is I studio host, and we go to, I think it's typically Westwood 1 or somebody like that, and then because it's the BBC, we don't have commercial breaks. So whenever the commercial breaks happen, we come in and we host through that. So So every time there's a stoppage, they come back to us and we analyze the game, and then we head back to the broadcasters out in LA. So unfortunately, it's nowadays, you used to be able to listen to it, I think, internationally, but nowadays it's limited to the UK unless you've got a VPN. So that's the way.
Oh, we got to get to. You got to send me some clips.
Oh, I can send you some clips.
Can we listen to this somehow? Can I stream it? Can I stream your coverage somewhere?
The only way is to get a VPN, I think, and pretend that you're in the UK.
Well, I used to do that. I used to do that a lot to watch baseball. So I'm well versed on how to do that. I'll figure it out. All right. Well, that's good. It's exciting. No, I say lay it on thick. I think just let everybody know that you're a Seahawks fan, and F the Rams and their stupid fan base and their annoying PA guy down there at SoFi. Just get.
I've not heard about him. What's his deal?
Listen to it. You'll hear it on the broadcast.
Is it the guy who shouts Rams house and stuff like that?
Yes, he's like, whose house? He's just obnoxious.
Well, whose house? It's whoever you're playing, because you don't have any fans.
Entire game, it's him yelling. You'll hear it through the broadcast. You're going to hear it through your TV and radio. It's just over the top. One, because they don't sell it out. And however many it holds, I don't know what it is, 80,000. Hell, half of it, maybe not half, but a third of it's going to be Seahawks fans that are going to be down there.
I'd guess about 70%.
Yeah, maybe. A lot of people, from Washington live down there in California now. So you're confident they're going to win? Who is the I like what you said about Shaheed. And I like there was a couple wrinkles they did with Shaheed last week.
Yeah.
Throwing him in the I formation, throwing him a sweep. I like that. That was real neat. I like that little wrinkle that Kubiak showed, but he's got some. He touched it a few times. Got some giddy up. Who do you think, as we sit here a week from today and we recap the game, the player that made the most impact will be who?
Probably Jackson Smith-Njigba, but I think it's an interesting point on Shaheed in that now they've shown, look, we can use him around the line of scrimmage. We can use him in that short game. And it may just sort of put that thought into the mind of the Rams. Okay, we can't sit off him too much and be worried about the deep ball, because they'll just throw him the ball and it's an easy 7 yards and it's just like an extended handoff there for a free 7 or 8. So it does just put that doubt in the mind. And then if they are going to sort of say, we're going to gamble, we're going to play man, we're going to be up at the line with him, that's when you can beat him over the top. So I think, look, Darnold, I expect is going to, like last week, I think it's very hard to get a read on Sam Darnold because the game was 35-0. And then after that, it's hard to know what to do because you throw it, you run the risk of if you just run the ball, then you're just going to keep punting. I mean, I would have just done that. But I think this is a kind of game where he's going to have to make some plays, and I think he will. So I think it's that passing game. I think that's going to be the key. You've got to apply a bit of scoreboard pressure on the Rams, and if they do that, I'm backing the defense to do enough. So I'm confident. I don't pay a lot, like you, Puck, and we were talking about that, and going back to the sort of the terminology that people use. I did speak to somebody, an ex-GM once, and he actually said he used a fancy word and then said, all those words that the coaches use. And I thought it was quite funny that it goes to show that even people in the NFL are not, they're not using all these terms all the time.
It's just annoying.
But yeah, I genuinely think, I can't remember the point I was going to make now because of that.
Yeah, none of us do. I don't know. None of us do. It's just going to be a fun game. It's going to be great. Can't wait to just watch it and sit back and just watch good football. We have two very good teams that right now are playing the best in the NFL, and they square off. Just can't wait.
That's what I was going to say. Like I don't spend much time on the analytics and the stuff like that, but DVOA has been quite a good sort of measure of who is the best. And the Seahawks are not just the number one DVOA team. And I think the Rams are second, which is what makes this such a compelling matchup. They're not just number one. They're like historically one of the best number one ranked teams ever. So they're like up there with like the offense apparently is as explosive as the greatest show on turf. Like you're just thinking this is like eventually, I think we're all kind of in this place. I don't know if you can remember how you felt in 2012. For me, as it was building, I was thinking, this is great. This is a lot of fun, but I'd still need to just see it. Like I need to see the team go into the playoffs and win. And then obviously a year later they did that. And by the end of that Super Bowl in 2013, I don't know what I was worried about. Like obviously they were always a great team. Like, and now they've just confirmed it. And this year feels the same. And like, until they go and win a game like this, or they win a couple of playoff games, or they're in the NFC Championship, there's always going to be that bit of like, I don't know how good they are. It feels like they're really good, but until they've gone and shown it, we just won't know. And if they do show it, we'll look back on this week and think, no, they were always really good. DVOA and everything, they're so balanced. They've got not flawless, but they've got very few weaknesses. And you look at the Bills. They've got loads of weaknesses. Look at the Eagles and the Packers. They look like they have weaknesses. Like you look at the Seahawks team, and like I said, they don't have necessarily Patrick Mahomes in the center, and they don't have Creed Humphrey, and they don't have Max Crosby or Myles Garrett, but they're a heck of a team. They've got a chance. Yeah.
All right. Go to SeahawksDraftBlog.com. Rob's got all of his work up there. Ton of stuff on the Seahawks, ton of stuff on college football, the draft, guys that you should be looking at. Heading into I know where the draft's months away, but as you're a big college football fan, great write-ups on all the players, quarterbacks, all of that. Also, YouTube puts stuff up all the time. Rob Staton Football up on YouTube. It's a great follow, great information, tons of followers. And, of course, you can follow him on X at Rob Staton. All right, get some sleep. Have fun on the call. Give me some highlights of it. I want to hear it. And I want some pro Seahawks stuff. Slip it in. On this week on Inside the Bloody Trenches, Puck and I talked about that would be great. Well, I mean, that'd be a great promotion.
But before I go, you did hear Mike Garofalo giving you a shout out on the NFL Network.
I did not hear it. I heard someone pass it on to me, but I have not heard it. But I need to go back.
I heard it, and I had a big smile on my face when he did that.
Son of a gun. He had that trade like 2 minutes. We recorded something. And then I'm like, hey, man, why didn't you just say it when we were doing it? He's like, I didn't know it quite yet. And he was, I need to play back that video because he's during it, like for 2 minutes, he's massively distracted. And I'm like, hey, man. And I had to like eventually edit it out because it was so distracted. And he's like, is that Seahawks related? No, it's not Seahawks related. It was the Sauce Gardner. One was Sauce Gardner, but it was the Quinnen Williams. He was getting the Quinnen Williams news like as we're recording. But I got to go back and find it. See, that's, it's great. Garofalo, shout out. Now it's your turn, Rob. Throw it out there for us. All right.
I'll try.
Have fun. We'll see you next week.
See you.